I've interviewed several wealthy nurses over the last 2 years. They've all had success in their own way. But one thing that stands out amongst all of them and has led them to find the success that they have is what I'll be talking about in this video. And these steps will work whether you're a nurse, nursing student, or an average Joe that works in a field entirely unrelated to nursing. Doesn't it seem like the more overtime you work, the more money you end up spending? It becomes a rat race where no matter how much overtime you work, you're still struggling to make ends meet and you have $0 in your bank account at the end of the month. There are far too many stories of people going past retirement age with no money saved for retirement. First, let's talk about some of the challenges that nurses face when it comes to finances. Nursing can be a rewarding profession, but it's also not the highest paying profession in healthcare. The median annual salary for registered nurses in the United States is $77,600, which is not a lot when you consider the cost of living in most major cities in the US. Take New York City, for example, where the median net nursing salary is $98,950. A typical take-home salary is $71,121 or $5,926 per month, and the median one-bedroom apartment rents for $4,033. This means that 1, you can't even qualify to rent an apartment as a nurse wanting to live in Manhattan, and 2, even if you were to qualify, the amount you would have to pay for rent would equal to 68% of your monthly take-home pay. Another challenge that nurses face is the high cost of education. Many nurses have student loan debt, which can be a huge burden on their finances. But even if you don't have student loans, you still have to pay for continuing education and certifications just to keep your license up to date. And all of these factors combined can make it challenging to build wealth, but it's not impossible. Let's get into the actionable steps that you can take to start building wealth as a nurse. Step number 1, the first thing you need to do, and this is the thing that Monica and I did when we were deep in debt at the height of the pandemic, is we created a budget. This might sound simple, but it's one of the most important things that you can do in order to take control of your finances. Because I remember Monica and I thought we were making a lot of money before the pandemic came. And then we realized we were not getting any overtime when shelter in place took effect. They were canceling all elective surgeries and nobody was going to the emergency department. At this point, we were paying over $9,000 in monthly expenses alone. We had over $120,000 worth of debt. So we began to track our income and our expenses, and we were barely scraping by. So when we created a budget, we were able to identify exactly where our money was going. And we were also able to identify which areas we needed to cut down on. So when you create a budget, you need to look for ways to reduce your expenses, like eating out less, shopping around for better insurance rates, or cutting back on entertainment expenses. For us, cutting back on some of those things was very easy at the height of the pandemic because nobody was traveling. So all of these events that were taking place at the time made it much easier for us to stick to our budget. And when I was a teenager, I used to cut hair for a living. So in order to save money, that's the one thing that I had to do for myself. I had to cut my own hair. And currently I pay about $50 a week to get a haircut. So you can just imagine how much money I was able to save in order for us to pay down all of this debt. The next thing you need to do is start saving for retirement immediately. I know you don't want to do it, but trust me, your future self is going to thank you later for it. When we first started saving for retirement, I felt like we were throwing our money away. But aside from having money in retirement, the one way in which saving for your retirement actually helps is by reducing your taxable income. So say for example, you invest $20,000 in retirement and you earned $100,000 from your W-2 job. At the end of the year, if you're investing that $20,000 in a 401k, to the government, it looks like you earned $80,000. So you will be taxed on the $80,000 that you made, not the $100,000 you made, because $20,000 of that went towards your retirement. And before Monica and I moved to California, we invested something like $8,000 to $9,000 in total since becoming nurses in the state of New York. However, we did not start saving for our retirement until I was about 33 years old. I'm 37 now, going on 38. In that time, we've gotten the total of our retirement accounts to go from $0 to over $230,000. And the beauty of investing in your retirement is that all of this money is tax deferred. So you don't pay taxes on it now, but you will pay the taxes when you retire and you withdraw it from your account. Unless you're investing in an IRA account, which is a retirement account in which you invest your money after your money is taxed in your paycheck. They don't tax it again when you pull it out in your retirement years. So if your employer offers a 401k, make sure you take advantage of it. But if they don't offer a 401k, the very least you can do is invest in an IRA, because you don't need access to invest in an IRA through your employer. You can do that on your own by going to fidelity.com, vanguard.com, or Webull.com, which is a website where you can get up to 12 free stocks valued at up to $30,600 by depositing any amount of money. The next thing you can do is explore additional income streams. This is something that I've dedicated myself to since I was a teenager. As you may have seen in my previous video, I've had many side hustles. One of them was drop shipping, where I would not even have to hold on to products and I would sell them to a customer that would pay me for the product. I'd use that money to buy it from a supplier in China and have the Chinese manufacturer ship it directly to my customer, and I would keep the difference to myself. And if you go even further back into my past, you'll know that I used to buy chocolate bars in bulk, go to my high school and sell them in individual pieces to earn about $300 per day in profit. But the thing that I'm doing today is focusing on our Nurses to Riches brand, because I've come across way too many nurses that are living paycheck to paycheck, and Monica and I were two of those nurses. So guys, we need to stop living paycheck to paycheck and monetize our skills. And if you don't have any skills, I highly recommend that you pay to learn new skills. Being a nurse, this is something not many other people benefit from. So use that to your advantage. Start a blog and write about your nursing experiences, or provide tutoring to nursing students. Or like I mentioned in my previous video, where Stephanie Beggs made over $2 million selling study guides and study sheets, create a product and sell it on Etsy, or create a website and sell it through your website. With the advent of social media, it's become easier today than ever to advertise a product or a skill. So take advantage of TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube in order to monetize your skills. And this will definitely increase your earning potential and build your wealth much faster, because ultimately, the more work you put into it today, the less work you'll have to put into it in the future. And I know somebody in the comments recently mentioned that the best way to make more money is to work more overtime, and I wholly disagree with that. I currently work 20 hours a week, and I have not picked up any overtime since March of 2022. Instead, I've dedicated more of my time to growing this YouTube channel and growing our brand. And last month, we made a little over $7,000. So initially, you might have to put a lot of work into your craft, into your business. But over time, the work that you initially put in will compound, and your income will go from active income, meaning income that you have to actively work for in order to earn, to passive income, which is money that will continue to come into your bank account without having to put all of the effort that you did when you initially started your side hustle or your business. And if you don't have a craft, but you want to learn a new one, go to Skillshare, which is exactly where I went to learn how to edit these videos and learn to talk to the camera like I am doing now. Go ahead and click on the link in the description below and make sure you use your free trial of Skillshare in order to learn a new skill that you can potentially monetize. All right, the next thing you're going to have to do is pay off all of your debt. That can be a major obstacle to building your wealth, because it eats a significant portion of your income and it makes it difficult for you to save and invest your money. If you have student loans or credit card debt, paying it all off should be your top priority. So you can either do it the Dave Ramsey way, where you do the snowball method and you pay the lowest debt first to the highest. Monica and I did something similar to that, but what we did instead was we saved our money every single paycheck. We put it in our checking account and we treated it almost like an emergency fund, because if an emergency actually did come up, we could use that money and pay for that emergency. But by the time we had enough money to pay one of our largest debts, that's exactly what we did. And we knocked out the largest debt to the lowest debt. In total, we paid off $128,000 within 1 year, because we began to pick up a lot of overtime, we didn't travel, and we saved money by cutting down a lot of our expenses. So you need to look for ways to free up more money in your budget to put towards your debt, such as cutting back on expenses or exploring additional income streams like I mentioned in the previous step. All right, so after you've increased your income, you started saving for retirement, and you got rid of all of your debt, the next thing you need to do is start investing your after-tax income. And this may seem a little overwhelming at first, because not many people even know where to invest their money. So I highly recommend that you pick up some of the books that I have listed in my description, because those are the books that guided me on my path to investing or after-tax income. And some of those books include The Millionaire Next Door, I Will Teach You to Be Rich, The Simple Path to Wealth, and The Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey. And the beauty of investing is that the earlier you start and the more consistent you are, even if you only start investing small amounts of money, over time, these small incremental investments will compound and you are going to have more money than you could have ever imagined. So if you are interested in investing, I highly recommend you go to Webull.com so you can get 12 stocks valued at up to $30,600 like I mentioned before. You don't even need to make a large deposit, but you should definitely get started now. And my favorite type of investment is low-cost index funds. We invest in total stock market index funds or S&P 500 index funds. The next thing you need to do, and one of the most important things, is to live below your means, and don't stop doing that. Even a person like Alex Hormozi, who's worth over $100 million, is still living below his means. Warren Buffett, one of the wealthiest individuals in the world, is still living in the same home he purchased over 50 years ago. This means being intentional about your spending and avoiding lifestyle inflation as your income grows is very important. And this might mean driving an older car, living in a smaller home, or cutting back unnecessary expenses. Monica and I were deep into debt when the pandemic first hit. We paid $70,000 for our SUV. I remember when we first made that purchase, it was a huge regret for us. That was one of the first things we paid off when we had the money to do so. And we tell ourselves till this day that we are never going to get into that much debt for a car ever again, and the next car we purchase is going to be paid in full and in cash. So live below your means and continue to do so if you want to see your net worth grow and you want to build massive amounts of wealth. And a bonus tip I want to give you, and this one will bring you a long way, and it's something that I began to do when we started our YouTube channel, is to network and build strong relationships with people that are just as obsessed in personal finance and building wealth as you are, because these are the only type of people that will understand your hunger for success and will push you towards your goals. So if that means attending professional conferences and events, joining nurse organizations, or connecting with other nurses on social media, by building a stronger network, you can open up new opportunities and build your wealth much faster than any other way. And while these tips can be really helpful in building wealth, there are some challenges that do come to mind. For example, investing can be risky, and it's important for you guys to do your research and be smart about your investments to avoid losing money. And you have to think long term. You can't be thinking short term, because if all you're doing is day trading, you're just going to end up like the over 80% of people who day trade and lose their money. So do your research, read the books that I recommended, read more books on personal finance, because you may experience setbacks and challenges along the way, but the key is to stay focused on your goals and keep moving forward. Never look back, and just try to improve incrementally day after day, because building wealth as a nurse is possible, but it takes some work. And by taking the steps outlined in this video, you can start to take control of your finances, pay off your debt, and start investing for your future. And if you want to learn about side hustles that could earn you over $83,000 a month, then make sure you click on this link over here.